Z. We are going to talk about the game against Arsenal and reflect uh, what happened during the game. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. So, Jerry Z, overall, what is your thoughts about the lineup and then the outcome of the game?
Hello, my friend. Hello, everyone. Yes, first of all, man, it's really hard day, after the game. The feelings, it's very hard to take this result. I'm sure before the game, most of the Chelsea fans, if you ask them before the game that if we give you a draw, would you take it? So I'm sure like majority of them would take it the way Arsenal is playing, the way we are in the table. But considering how the game went along, how we dominated it, I'm sure this is a legitimate word now, right? Because we really dominated Arsenal. So it was a great game again. Of course, this is a whole consensus. I'm sure no one will disagree with that. That we really played well, and it was surprising. It was not so surprising to me because I, in some different podcasts, did I didn't predict, to be very honest. I don't want to take the credit that wow, I expected our Chelsea to play exactly the same way. There was a discussion in one of the podcasts where people were saying that will Chelsea show the aggressiveness, the intensity, and I said the way Pochettino sets up his team, especially in the big games, because people see the data. That's why the analyst comes into the picture. If you see the data of Pochettino against top six teams in Tottenham, it's not a very good record, to be very honest, right? So people think that maybe he is not able to compete or the teams lack something. But it's a win percent. Sorry, I don't remember the exact percent. It's maybe around 25, 30%. But you should also know how many games were drawn because it only gives the winning ratio, right? And again, we have discussed, we don't have to go in detail about Tottenham and all of that. So the games that he played in the 5 years with the top 4 5 sides, always the games were competitive. Always. Never, I don't even remember any game. There might be one. There might be an odd game where Tottenham were played out of the park. Maybe he will lose 2-1 or it will be a 2-2 draw. But the intensity, the aggressiveness was always there. So, in another podcast, which I'm referencing of your friend, I did mention before the game that it will be a great. People were not anticipating. There were many mainstream analysts who was thinking that Arsenal will dominate and play us out of the park. And I said I didn't predict a Chelsea win or draw. Nothing. I didn't even predict. I usually predict for this one. I didn't predict, so I don't want to take any credit for which I haven't spoken on. But I said my words were that I guarantee that Chelsea will be aggressive. There will be intensity and the body language. You won't complain about the effort. So yeah. So in fact, I was kind of surprised because they even though my expectation if it was high for the efforts and the aggression, but honestly speaking, especially in the first half, the intensity was really high. Honestly, you can't really ask for more, right? And the way we played, not just how we set up, it looks like a 4-3-3 in the start, then it was a 4-2-3-1 if you notice, and it was a 4-4-2 after we scored the goal. So it was a great plan, and how they Pochettino is being very, very versatile now in his tactics. And the whole thing is, it was, in my opinion, the way I saw the game is it was a battle of the midfield, which we completely dominated. And in this game, I'm so happy to say that we finally saw against a very good side what Conor Gallagher, Enzo Fernandez, and Moses Caicedo can do. And what we can expect in the future is amazing. These three players, in my opinion, were the pivotal, were the rock bed for our game. The way we really nullified their defense, their attack. Sorry, most of the people think it's the defense that did well. Of course, for me, Cucurella stood out. I have to appreciate him as well. But the thing is, why the defense was so good, so potent, was because, in my opinion, of the midfield. We won the midfield battles, and again, it's so hard to take, and I've been very sad, and still trying to recover because we dominated the game. First of all, we should have scored maybe a third goal, in my opinion. We have ample of chances. Could have scored even three or four, right? Okay, we didn't take the opportunity, and then what Sanchez did. Again, I don't have to say anything back to him or go against him how people do because I'm professional and I respect the people who are professional. But the thing is, we saw this in the Brighton game, in the Aston Villa game, where we were not punished. He did the same. His people look at the stats and say his distribution is good. Again, that is how where analyst comes into play. If you see his statistics of distribution, all the 8 9 games he has played, including the cup game, as a whole they are good. But you see, in this situation, if you really mess up one or two passes, that is it. That will cost you the game. If you recall, in the Brighton game, he did the same, but somehow he was able to recover the ball. In the Aston Villa game, he did the same. Again, we were not punished in the game. And I also mentioned that there is a possibility there. It's such a intense game that I was worried. Of course, I didn't see it coming, but I was worried about it. So it's a concern for me. It's a huge concern for me. So, and I think, in my opinion, that was the moment that causes the result. Okay, it was 2-1. We could have done better after Sanchez's mistake, but it's difficult to take. People don't understand this the level of play, display, and the intensity and the professionalism the whole of Chelsea players put in. When Sanchez made this mistake, it's difficult to recover. It's really, as a fan, when I was watching the game, I was not able to recover after the Sanchez mistake, and I really thought we'll concede, and I was even worried we'll lose the game. To be very honest, after that. So in that aspect, we are lucky with a 2-2, considering the last 10 15 minutes. So, bro, I would like to take your to have your take on this one, because I would like to see what is your take. Do you agree with me, or where what elements do you see where we could have done better? Do you generally agree that we dominated the game, because shots on target was zero until the time Arsenal scored in the 77th minute?
My take on the game, I thought like from minute one until that Robert Sanchez era, we've done better. After that era, it killed our momentum, and then the players felt let down. So overall, the performance was amazing. We stopped Saka, Martinelli, Ondegaard. Those players are more effective for us now. So yeah, man, I'm happy with the win. I'm sorry, not the win. I'm happy with the performance, but I'm not happy with what Robert Sanchez done. So hopefully, in the near future, he'll do much better. So in terms of the players, who are the standout player for you?
To be very honest, generally, most of the players, they had a good game. So I cannot say that anyone played a bad game apart from Sanchez, unfortunately, right? And the players that stood out for me, that there are three players that stood out for me. Cole Palmer, the way he played again showed his maturity. He was really instrumental in our attack. Again, my favorite, Conor Gallagher. He had a tremendous game again. The way he tracked back, the way he was combining with the forwards and the defense, the way his interceptions and passing, it was, to me, is a great reflection on his progress. I'm very, very happy with Conor Gallagher, and it's sad in a way that Chelsea fans, have a certain bias towards him, and it will not help the whole structure, the player as a whole. But anyhow, people have their right to see how they look at a player or the game. But Conor Gallagher's improvement and evolution is really, really something I'm very satisfied and content with, and I really see him as a long-term player in at Chelsea. But if I have to name one player that stood out for me, given that at a time, including myself, was not really confident on this player, and really thought that maybe we should sell him, and we were about to sell him in the last week, and finally I think the offer didn't went through with Manchester United. So for me, the player who stood out, because he was not really a part of the team until and unless he got an opportunity as a right back of Reece James' injury and Gusto's uh, suspension, and now in this huge game he played as a left back. And you know who am I talking about? It's Cucurella, our favorite boy Cucurella. The way he displayed his intensity, his runs, the right moment where he ran, the right moment where he was really in the right area, and right attempt to clear the ball, to tackle, to take the ball, to make that extra run on the right side or the left side. It was so good to see. Saka was completely nullified by Cucurella. Saka was literally in his pocket the whole game. Again, we can see one or two errors, especially in the second goal that was conceded. But Cucurella was refreshing. His intensity, his work rate, his decision making again. And if you see when he was 1v1 many times with Saka, and 9 out of 10 times, or 9.5 out of 10 times, he got the better of him. And a player like Saka, if Cucurella has showed us, then in my opinion, I am very confident. I see him as a left back going forward. That's another thing. What will happen if you keep him or not? Because these are all different aspects and discussions which can always come into play, into discussion in the transfer market. But Cucurella stood out for me. It was so refreshing to see his work rate, especially. It was second to none. And in Saka, when even he was took him and he made the run and he cut inside out, even then the way he retrieved the ball and the way his first touch, his tackles, I mean, they were so exquisite, so clinical. For me, it's the in the entire game the way he played. It's amazing and testament to the player in his training and testament to Pochettino. We will talk about Gallagher. We should see Cucurella, Modric, and the whole team in general, the way they are playing. So it's amazing the way we are progressing, and that is why it's so difficult to take this. I would say loss. The word comes loss. Draw is like a loss, right? So for you, I'll ask the same. Which player stood out for you, and what do you see as a whole moving forward? Like, and do you see the a follow up question that you were kind of the inexperience came into play, where we couldn't see of the game?
I didn't get your last question, but I will say, like, in terms of the players that stood out for me, I'll name few. Thiago Silva was solid, 39-year-old player, and he's still this good. So Thiago Silva for me, he had a perfect performance. He was so good. He was solid. Arsenal couldn't do much to ahead us. That's why I'm saying, like, after Sanchez goal, our spirit went down, but overall Thiago Silva played very well. And another player, Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer. I have to admit, I was one of those people who say, why did you buy Cole Palmer? He was a bench player for Manchester City and stuff. And I didn't know much about this game. But after those few performances playing for us, oh man, I regret saying those words. I regret it. What a player, what a performance. What a beautiful penalty by him. Student play. And then another thing, man. Oh man, I wish, I wish Nicholas Jackson can do more to help our attack more, because as soon Jackson came in, you saw the real Palmer. He was dropping deep, doing a magic, making those passes and stuff. All we needed was a striker that can score us a third goal. But overall, Thiago Silva and Cole Palmer was standard player for me. So before, my friend, we wrap it up, after the performance yesterday against Arsenal, 2-2. So where can we improve more? What can we do to avoid such mistakes again?
Yes,
Yes.
it's a good question and a very difficult question right now. To even take into consideration. This game was almost perfect, I would say, as I've described. The way Pochettino set up the team, the way they perform. The good thing. Let's look at the good things, right? The best thing in my opinion and analysis is that the whole team. We should first of all forget the tactics and all of that. The entire team, I would say, they are completely buying into the Pochettino's system, the belief, his words, his philosophy. And that is the most important bedrock, the root, the system where you can progress. Because if you see with Potter, with Lampard, and other teams, if you look, if the in the initial stage, especially when there is a huge, uh, uh, you know, uh, rebuilding, and the team with the last season were finished at 12th. It's so important to get it right. It's important to have the players and the manager at the same on the same ground, at the same level. And we can see the players, they are playing for Pochettino. I'm sure you will agree with that. And this is a very, very positive thing, and something that makes me feel really positive moving forward. Again, Pochettino has showed, and it was great to hear after the game with even the mainstream and other analysts that they posted that Pochettino has shown that he can go head to head with the top coaches in England, in Europe. The only thing that is concerning is that it's a young team, right? It's a young team. And okay, it was Sanchez's pass, and 85%. That was the reason why we lost. See, I'm saying lost. It feels like a loss. It doesn't feel like a draw. The thing is, even in the perfect game like this, right? Almost perfect game like this, we kind of threw it away. So the huge concern that I have right now, if and hopefully we will play like more or less like this moving forward, will we able to see off the games? See, if the other team was leading and we were coming from the behind, it would have been another difficult challenge. So, and on these days when we are dominating and we are in lead, do we have the experience? Do we have the composure? Do we have the situational awareness to see it off? And this doesn't come in training. It comes with experience. It comes with getting things done. So if we had done or got the result yesterday against one of the most difficult teams in England and Europe right now, Arsenal, it would have given us a huge sense of belief and wisdom and self assurance, right? Which we might be lacking now. This could come in our heads, and I hope that we will, or the players will be strong enough to make a comeback, and in future against Spurs, or depends if when in which game we are leading in the tough games in Newcastle City, if the similar situation comes, how do we cope with that, right? How do we cope with that? So it was very disappointing the way the game ended. All in all, it's a great perspective, and all the elements and attributes show me that the team, as I also discussed in a in-depth video which we did last Sunday, that it won't take too much time. I said that it won't take, people think it will take time. I said maybe 2 4 months for the team to be right up there. And I still believe it will take 2 3 4 months for the team to be right up there. And we also have to fix these small things. And again, uh, that I have always backed the board, and I'm generally a positive person. But even if they had this model, which we would like to discuss in our future video, the financial model and all these investments they have done, the thing is they could have been a little clever. I don't want to go hard on Sanchez. He could prove us all wrong, could become a great player in the future. But the thing is, why did you take a risk? If you're investing so heavily, okay, you just want the youth, you could have done something different. You could have gone for a different player. The position of forward and goalkeeper, in my opinion, is the most important position in football. Midfield is, of course, the heart, the engine. But the thing is, if you're depending on one striker and one goalkeeper, you really have to nail that, right? When you're spending close to 1 billion, you should have been done your homework more. As I said, Sanchez could still improve, become a great player. It's a possibility, right? But the thing is, he is learning, he's adapting, he is growing, he's developing. Why do we need a goalkeeper to develop? If we had a established goalkeeper already, we could have gained a lot of more points. You see what I mean? So we are basically losing points or losing games uh, because of, I would say poor recruitment. I would say ineffective recruitment. The model is good, it's clear what they want. We'll discuss in the future video why they are going for the youth, no problem. But in one or two places, even you could have gone for a younger goalkeeper, but you could have gone for a different goalkeeper, right? Or you could have gone for a different forward, right? So I see the recruitment as not being very effective in that regard. Moving forward, it's a challenge for Pochettino. He had a great masterclass. right now, including us, the whole mainstream and all the Chelsea fans, even the critics of Watch, they are still appreciating him. Could have made the post-match analysis into a masterclass of Pochettino, singing his song and praising him, and he deserved it. He deserved it just because of Sanchez's mistake, and I know because many, unfortunately, fans didn't want Pochettino at first place, so they are still blaming him, which is sad, because what he did, he did. What he could have done, he already prepared. The way he professionally trained them, set them up, it was pitch perfect, right? Last week, see how Guardiola played with Arsenal before the international break, and now I'm not comparing Poch to Guardiola with all due respect, but you see what I'm trying to say. Okay, we can always talk about some of the substitutions, right? So it's not the occasion that I would like to go in detail. The second goal came when he already made the subs. We can always say he could have waited, he could have done this, he could have kept Palmer, right? First of all, we don't know how exhausted he was or not, etc. XYZ. But the thing is, sure, I support Poch because of the facts, and it's not that if I support Poch, I will not criticize him or I won't. The substitution could have been better. I agree with that. Could have, but it's like Pochettino did 9 out of 10 things right. Let's say he didn't do one thing, and we are focusing on that, right? No one expected Pochettino and Chelsea to play this way, to set up this way. So we should appreciate that. Sure, criticize the substitution. Go ahead. Sure, praise what he did. No one expected from Poch and the players. So moving forward, I'm hopeful, but I'm more worried about this mental aspect and the inexperience. And yeah, this is my take, and we can only hope for the best, and it's interesting times ahead. And as we are concluding, I would really like to hear your narrative on the same topic.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. We should have done better. Uh, Also, the mentality of the players are not there yet. They're still young. Hopefully, he can build that into these players. Never relax, never sleep up in the last minutes of the game. And you mentioned something about Robert Sanchez. Hopefully, he will learn from this mistake that at this type of games, you don't need such mistakes because you can hurt the players and also the fans. The mood after that goal, the mood went down from the players and the fans. So hopefully, Robert Sanchez can learn from that mistake and he can do better. Another thing you mentioned about striker, I felt like Jackson didn't help us that much because as soon as he came in, I thought maybe we'll score another goal for us and then we'll be 3-0. Then we can cruise and enjoy the game. So overall, uh, thank you for coming in here. Hopefully, we'll do another stream by next week and talk about the Brentford game. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you're new, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and update channels.
Thank you so much. Take care. Have a good day.